Things haven't gone so well for Infiniti recently. Their 2019 sales were down 21.15% in the US and 10.64% in Canada compared to 2018 sales data. So we're asking the question, should Infiniti die, or is there a reason for it to continue as Nissan's premium brand? But before we dive into the future of Infiniti, we need to see how the Japanese brand got here in the first place. The 1980s were a fun time in the automotive world. The Japanese manufacturers wanted to cash in on the success of BMW and Mercedes-Benz that were having in the luxury segment. Honda launched Acura on the 27th of March 1986 with the 1986 Acura Legend and Acura Integra, the coupe and sedan. Toyota didn't want to be left out and debuted the 1990 Lexus LS in January 1989, along with their midsize ES as a 1990 model year. Nissan didn't want to be overshadowed and left out of the 80s premium upmarket launches, so they unveiled their first Infiniti vehicles in 1989 with their full-size flagship, the Q45, and the midsize coupe, the M30. Now, the Q45 is a pretty special car, and you can be forgiven if you aren't familiar with it. The 1990 Infiniti Q45 was a rear-wheel drive, full-size luxury sedan powered by Nissan's high-output 4.5-liter VH45DE V8 engine, which produced 278 horsepower, 292 pound-feet of torque, and came with a 4-speed automatic transmission. By comparison, the 1990 BMW 735i was the only V8 option and only had 208 horsepower, 225 pound-feet of torque. And the 1990 Mercedes-Benz 560 SEL's 5.6-liter V8 pumped out 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. But as we discussed during the episode we did on the W126, it would have cost considerably more than the Infiniti Q45. Now, Infiniti's other launch vehicle didn't quite compete with the four-door Lexus ES, but it was in the same segment as the Acura Legend Coupé. The 1990 Infiniti M30 was powered by a single overhead cam 3-liter V6, which was seriously underpowered at 162 horses and 180 pound-feet of torque. Unlike the Legend, though, the M30 came with the option of a convertible and was a rear-wheel drive car over the Legend's front drive. Now, over the course of the 90s, Infiniti launched a number of other vehicles, including the G20, the J30, and along with the short-lived i30, which all have their cult followings and enthusiast communities that still support them to this day. Infiniti made their first SUV in 1997 with the QX4. Like most luxury SUVs at the time, it was more or less an upmarket version of an existing vehicle, in this case the Nissan Pathfinder. Their SUV and crossover lineup has expanded in the 2000s with a number of alphabet soup models which all underwent a rename in the mid-2010s. The switch to Qs and QXs was brought on after a 2003 conversation with then Nissan CEO Carlos Ghosn and then Vice President Andy Palmer, where Ghosn said Nissan didn't need the Infiniti brand and Palmer was free to disband it if he chose to. So Nissan is in familiar territory, where they are right now. They've had some decent sales since that 2003 death notice, but the brand in North America is just an also-ran in the Japanese premium market space, coming in third place consistently after Lexus and Acura. Newcomers like Genesis are poised to bring a new threat to Infiniti, as we saw back in 2018 when we featured the Genesis G70 versus the Infiniti Q50S on Test Drive Showdown. In 2019, all three premium Japanese brands saw sales declines over their 2018 numbers in the United States and Canada. Lexus had the most 2019 sales with 298,112 units sold in the US, a 0.06% decline. Acura had 157,385 sales, a decline of 0.97%, and Infiniti was down 21.15% with 117,708 US sales. Infiniti also saw a 10.64% decline in Canada during the same time period with 10,974 units. But that could just be an off year considering the entire US automotive market saw a 1.03% decline in year-over-year sales in 2019. So how does 2019 compare to 2017? Down 23.27%. And when compared to 2016, Infiniti was down 7.81%. 3 years of sales decline with 2020 looking bleak due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and things just aren't looking good for Infiniti. They've killed off the Q70L, the successor to the original Q45, along with their badge-engineered Mercedes-Benz QX30 and the QX70 midsize crossover. Being lean and mean is a good thing for Infiniti, as their larger crossovers and SUVs seem to sell the best, along with the Q50 sedan. In fact, the full-size QX80 saw the least decline in 2019, despite the fact that it's been the same generation since 2011. So what's the future look like for Infiniti? The new Nissan CEO Hiroto Saikawa has said that all new Infiniti models launched after 2021 will either be fully electric or use their new e-Power electric motor-powered range-extending technology. This is a pretty bold claim, considering none of Infiniti's Canadian 2020 models have any sort of hybridization. The two vehicles with hybrid options have been discontinued. But here's my take, and I've been saying this for years. A brand like Infiniti and Acura need a hook to get buyers in the door and behind the wheel of their cars. But they also need a consistent vision, a raison d'etre. Right now, Infiniti does well with the midsize 3-row QX60, a vehicle that has remained the same generation since the 2013 model year. Now, we featured it in 2018 on an episode of Test Drive Spotlight and Showdown, and discussed how its Nissan Pathfinder sister vehicle offers essentially the same kit for $49,498 Canadian, whereas the Infiniti tops out at $63,905. Their Q50 sedan is also a strong seller for the brand, now on its 7th year of production with very few changes. The Q50 doesn't have a Nissan counterpart to compare to in Canada, which gives it a distinct proposition value to buyers who want either a 300 horsepower base model all-wheel drive sedan or a 400 horsepower top-end performance trim. The problem is the Q50S Red Sport isn't a BMW M3 or Mercedes-AMG C63 competitor in terms of performance, and its luxury offerings aren't even close to the Germans. Even though the Nissan Skyline sedan isn't sold in North America, the Q50 is still a dressed-up Nissan with a decent engine. Infiniti needs to decide what it wants to be. If electrification is the goal, they're going to find out that a lot of other luxury manufacturers are looking at that too. Nissan has some experience with the Leaf and could prove to be an asset as they start to develop more EV and PHEV technology for their vehicles. But Nissan could easily have the electric cars, and Infiniti still would need a reason to exist. So what would I do? I'd kill off the Q60 Coupe. It only sold 5,043 units in 2019 in the US, a decline of 44.41% from 2018. The QX60 is in need of a serious refresh, and it's a great opportunity for a long-range PHEV built from the ground up as a completely unique vehicle in Nissan's portfolio and not a Pathfinder with lipstick. I'd drop the third row on it and use that space for the batteries, and make sure the technology is from this millennium, like a usable 360-degree camera, an intuitive infotainment system, and the modern features that we would expect at that price point. The QX50 is the latest Infiniti vehicle to see a major overhaul, so it's a little too early for it to go under the knife, but the sales for it were down 26.68% in 2019, which were actually up 9.68% in 2018 and up 10.43% in 2017. The QX80 needs an overhaul and could benefit from a long-range plug-in hybrid electric system also. Bring a fresh design with it and the QX60, modern tech, and a reason to buy it over the Armada that makes the price difference actually worthwhile. Become a hybrid electric sports car brand. Make the cars fast like the Q50S Red Sport with the added electric power. Take on Mercedes-Benz with their EQ Boost and BMW with the performance at the same time. Invest in building an actual luxury experience that isn't just renaming trims every year to give off the impression of sophistication. Now, while Genesis only sold 21,237 vehicles in the US last year, they saw an increase of 113.65% over 2018. They're launching a new SUV this year and refreshing their midsize sedan, which should help boost their sales despite the global pandemic. Infiniti has the potential to reinvent itself and become the brand it always wanted to be, but now is the time for Nissan to do something about it. If they don't take the steps needed to make the Infiniti brand work, they should do what they've done in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Just shut it down. Cease operations around the globe and focus on Nissan alone. If it were up to me, I've laid out what I would do for Infiniti, but if I was in charge of Nissan, I would get rid of Infiniti. There's really no major difference between the QX80 and the Armada, or the QX60 and the Pathfinder. The only real car that isn't available as a Nissan is the Q50, as we mentioned. So rename it the Skyline like they do in Japan. Make that the halo performance sports sedan that people want. Position it maybe between the new Altima with all-wheel drive and a refreshed Maxima. Make it the performance car, and then make the Maxima whatever you want it to be, but add that Skyline trim. It's a powerful name for enthusiasts, and I think that even the average consumer would see a Nissan Skyline four-door sports sedan and say, yeah, I really want that. So if I were in charge of things, I would get rid of Infiniti. We're at the point now where it doesn't seem to be a benefit to the brand to keep it going, even though sales in China seem to be pretty decent. If you really wanted to, you could keep it going there, but I think it's time to get rid of it here. Reinvent or get rid of it. The saying goes, shit or get off the pot. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We didn't do an episode last week and I apologize. This idea came to me the other day and I wanted to film it. If you liked it, if you like this idea of going and looking at particular brands, particular cars, going in depth and talking about it and giving my opinion and sales data and things like that, if you want to see more of it, let me know in the comments below as soon as you can. Because if you like it, I can continue filming these until things go back to normal here in Quebec. Because we still don't have access to press cars, so I still don't have any regular, normal content that we'd be expecting from Test Drive Spotlight at this time. But I can spend some time doing more of this if you like it. So leave a comment below, hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're coming here for the first time and you'd like to see more. Normally we are doing weekly car reviews here, but given what's going on, this is what you get. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun going through the history of Infiniti and kind of giving a play to what I would do if I was in charge. Until next time, thanks for watching and take care.